In last few months, there are lots of hot news feeds in the media about North Korea and USA conflicts, but many of us are not aware the overall background of this tense relationship between these two nations. When this tension actually began, what made these countries enemies, and why they are not able to resolve this situation. Hi friends, you're watching Mindscape, and as always, let's simplify and get clearer picture of this issue. North Korea-United States relations are hostile and have developed primarily during the Korean War. The Korean War happened during 25th June 1950 to 27th July 1953, began when North Korea invaded South Korea. The United Nations, with the United States as a principal force, came to the aid of South Korea. China came to the aid of North Korea, and Soviet Union gave some assistance, during which the US Air Force bombed and napalmed parts of North Korea, leaving 20% of its population dead. In recent years, relations have been largely defined by North Korea's 5 tests of nuclear weapons, its development of long-range missile capable of striking target thousands of miles away, and its ongoing threats to strike United States and South Korea with the nuclear weapons and conventional forces. In his presidency, George W. Bush referred to North Korea as a part of the axis of evil because of the threat of its nuclear capabilities. As the Democratic People's Republic of Korea and the United States of America have no formal diplomatic relations, the Kingdom of Sweden acts as a protecting power of United States interests in North Korea for a consular matter. Since the Korean War, the United States has maintained a long military presence in South Korea. In 2015, according to the Collapse Annual World Affairs Survey, only 9% of Americans have a favorable view of North Korea, while 87% of Americans have negative views. According to the 2014 BBC World Service poll, only 4% of Americans view North Korea's influence positively, with 90% expressing a negative view, one of the most negative perceptions of North Korea in the world. The United Nations divided Korea after World War II. During the US Army's occupation of South Korea, relations between US and North Korea were conducted through the Soviet military government in North. Because of the North Korea's submission to the Soviet pressure and because of a mass opposition to the US occupation of the mortal enemy Japan, North Koreans in this period denounced the United States and began to form a negative view of the United States. On September 9, 1948, Kim Il-sung declared the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. He promptly received diplomatic recognition from the Soviet Union, but not the United States. The US did not extend and has never extended diplomatic recognition to the DPRK, that is North Korea. After 1948, the withdrawal of most American troops from the peninsula actually intensified Kim Il-sung's anti-American rhetoric, often asserting that US was capitalist imperialist successor to Japan, a view a country still holds today. In December 1950, the United States initiated economic sanction against DPRK under the Trading with Enemy Act, which lasted until 2008. On January 23, 1968, a US spy ship was captured. The incident was known as the Pueblo Incident. On April 15, 1969, EC-121 was shot down over the Sea of Japan by North Korea. in which 31 American servicemen died. On August 18, 1976, a US captain and a lieutenant were killed by North Korean army with Axis in the Korean demilitarized zone when the Americans were engaged in a routine tree clearing. Later, the North Korean government backed down and allowed the tree cutting to go ahead, and the latter issued an unpresidential official apology. North Korea and the United States had a little to no relations during this time. In 1994, North Korea blocked international inspectors from verifying the regime's adherence to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. The Bill Clinton administration believed that North Koreans were processing plutonium from a reactor to build two atomic bombs. President Clinton recalled that I was determined to prevent North Korea from developing a nuclear arsenal, even at the risk of a war. According to the former Pentagon officials, the Clinton administration drew plans to strike the North Korea nuclear reactor at Yongbyon. In December 1994, a US helicopter was shot down over North Korea. A pilot died and another was captured by Democratic Peoples of Republic of Korea and held for 13 days. In December 2002, Spanish troops boarded and detained a shipment of missiles from North Korea destined for Yemen at the United States' request. After 2 days, the United States released the ship to continue its shipment to Yemen. This further strained the relationship between US and North Korea, with the North Korea characterizing the boarding an act of piracy. In September 2005, immediately following the September 19 agreement, the US alleges the North Korea produces $15 million worth of American supernotes every year and has induced banks in Macau and elsewhere to end businesses with North Korea. It was reported that an audit had found no evidence that bank had facilitated North Korean money laundering. On February 13, 2007, agreement in the six-party talks among the United States, the two Koreas, Japan, China, and Russia called for other actions besides a path toward a denuclearized Korean peninsula. It also outlined steps towards the normalization of political relations with Pyongyang, a replacement of the Korean Armistice Agreement with a peace treaty, and the building of a regional peace structure for Northeast Asia. In exchange of substantial fuel aid, North Korea agreed to shut down the Yongbyon nuclear facility. The United States also agreed to begin discussion on normalization of relations with North Korea and to begin the process of removing North Korea from its list of state sponsors of terrorism. In early 2008, the United States agreed to start lifting restrictions after North Korea began the disarming process. President Bush announced he would remove the North Korea from the list of state sponsors of terrorism after North Korea released a 60-page declaration of its nuclear activities. Shortly thereafter, North Korean officials released a video of a demolition of a nuclear reactor at Yongbyon, considered a symbol of North Korea's nuclear program. The Bush administration praised the progress but was criticized by many, including some within the administration, for settling for too little. On November 4, 2007, a North Korean merchant vessel was attacked by Somali pirates off the coast of Mogadishu as US Navy ships patrolling the waters moved to respond. The 22 North Korean seamen fought the 8 Somali pirates in the hand-to-hand combat. With the aid from the crew of the US and helicopter, the ship was freed and permission was given to the US crew to treat the wounded crew and pirates. This resulted in a favorable comments from the US envoy in Beijing, as well as an exceedingly rare pro-US statement in the North Korean press. The American-North Korean relations have further been strained by the arrest of two American journalists on March 17, 2009. The two journalists were arrested on the North Korean border in China while supposedly filming a documentary on the trafficking of women and sentenced them to 12 years of hard labor. The US criticized the act as a sham trial. Just over 2 years later, on March 16, 2012, North Korea announced it would launch its satellite to mark the 100th anniversary of late Kim Il-sung's birthday. This announcement triggered American anxiety as satellite launches are technologically contagious with the missile launches. The United States also suspended food aid to North Korea in retaliation for the missile plans. However, on December 11, 2012, North Korea successfully launched a missile in contrast to its failure in March. The United States strongly condemned the action as it's widely believed that North Korea are developing long-range ballistic missile that would reach the west coast of the United States. On March 29, 2013, Kim Jong-un threatened the United States by declaring that rockets were ready to be fired at American bases in the Pacific. The declaration was in response to two B-2 stealth bombers that flew over the Korean peninsula on the day before. After Jong-un's declaration, the Pentagon called for an advanced missile defense system to the Western Pacific on April 3. On 26, 2013, North Korea said it had arrested a US citizen for committing an unspecified crime against the country. US officials said that person was Kenneth Bae. On May 2, 2013, Bae was convicted of hostile acts and sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. Two American citizens were detained in North Korea in June 2014, accused of hostile acts. Following the April 3, 2017, US missile strike in Shariat, Syria, in response to chemical attack, tensions had mounted as President Trump weighed further military options against North Korea's ballistic missile program. In the second week of April 2017, global media outlets reported that USS Carl Vinson supercarrier had been deployed to a Sea of Japan heading towards North Korea as a result of confusion created by a miscommunication between the Pentagon and the White House. On April 17, North Korea Deputy United Nations Ambassador accused the United States of turning the Korean peninsula into the world's biggest hotspot, and the North Korean government stated its readiness to declare war on United States if North Korean forces were to be attacked. In reality, on April 18th, the Carl Vinson and its escorts were 3,500 miles from Korean engaged in scheduled joint Royal Australian Navy exercise in the Indian Ocean. The Carl Vinson aircraft carrier had been in the South China Sea in 2015 and again in February 2017 on routine patrols. In late April 2017, Trump stated that there is a chance that we, the United States, could end up having a major conflict with the North Korea. In January 2016, an American student, Otto Warmbier, was detained at Pyongyang International Airport after allegedly attempting to steal a propaganda banner from his hotel. In March 2016, he was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. but in June 2017 was released from North Korea, having fallen into a coma like a state. He died a few days after being returned to the USA. Just 2 days before, on 4th July 2017, North Korea successfully tested ICBM, which created tension worldwide, especially in United States and South Korea. This is what has happened till now between US and North Korea, and this rising tension between these countries has created worry worldwide. We hope the tension between them get normalized soon. Check our other video on rise of nuclear tension between these two countries. Hope you like this video. Thanks for watching.